in Saturday's State Houses of Assembly election. According to Akeredolu, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State should be given another chance to continue with the good works he has started, especially in the areas of good governance, infrastructure, and provision of dividends of democracy to the people of the state. He also appreciated the Lagos State Governor for his support and contributions to the development of Ondo State and its people, saying the entire APC leadership at national, southwest zone and state levels are solidly behind Sanwo-Olu's re-election based on the good work he has been doing.
I am Osrc, Governor of Ondo State. I use this opportunity to address all indigenes of Ondo State who are resident in Lagos State. I thank you for voting for APC and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as our president-elect. And I wish to implore you to troop out massively and vote for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at this Saturday's governorship election. As a people with indomitable spirit and mark his honor, character, and loyalty, let us show our love for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu by giving him all our votes. I urge all Ondo State indigenes to vote for Babajide Sanwo-Olu and call on leaders and town associations in Lagos State to mobilize our brothers and sisters for Saturday election. Lagos State is kind to us. Let us be kind to Lagos State. Vote for APC. Vote for Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Again, thank you and God bless.
Meanwhile, legal icon and senior advocate of Nigeria, Wole Olanipekun, and 49 other lawyers have offered to defend the victory of President-elect Bola Tinubu at the Presidential Election Tribunal. The lawyers are waiting to be served with the petitions of the candidates of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Atiku Abubakar, and the Labour Party (LP), Mr. Peter Obi. Both opposition candidates have registered their displeasure with the declaration of the All Progressives Congress APC candidate as winner of the February 25 poll. Members of the Tinubu legal team are to hold their preliminary meeting today in Lagos. Reports say some of the 50 SANs have opted for free service to actualize Tinubu's mandate. Now, taking other stories, the Ondo State Governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, has approved the increment in the pension allowances of retirees in the state. Head of Service, Kayode Ogundele, said the approval is in conformity with the consequential adjustment arising from the implementation of the national minimum wage of 2019 in the country. According to him, no fewer than 11,654 officers from the state civil service and 11,659 from the local government service who retired before 1st January 2020 would benefit from the new approval. While congratulating the pensioners in the state, Ogundele thanks Governor Akeredolu for listening to the yearnings of the pensioners and prioritizing the general well-being of Ondo State workers. Cutting-edge gene therapies could become more accessible in the coming years. The practice has been discussed by scientists and policymakers at the 2023 Human Genome Editing Summit in London. Oduaya Sawyer reports.
Victoria Gray isn't used to the limelight. A mom from Mississippi, she's now the star attraction at the Human Genome Editing Summit in London, here to describe the treatment that has changed her life.
I think it is a great thing. Who doesn't want a good quality of life where you don't have to suffer? Because my disease, I didn't choose. I was just born having to endure pain and hospital stays. It was a life that I felt wasn't worth living.
Victoria has been cured of debilitating sickle cell disease by an experimental gene editing treatment. Her story represents a major advance with implications for millions born with a rare blood disease each year. Inherited diseases like sickle cell cystic fibrosis and Huntington's begin as variations in genes, the codes in human DNA that tell the body how to make cells. New tools like the so-called CRISPR system confined, cut, and replace faulty parts of genes to deliver a connected genetic code. Senior researchers like Theodore Unov foresee a world in which CRISPR is able to provide a rapid cure for the genetic mutations it encounters.
The next horizon, the next big breakthrough for us as a community is to take that amazing technology and make it available, manufactured at such scale for the tens of millions around the world who have a mutation that needs to be CRISPRed today.
It is a goal that raises important ethical concerns.
One of the greatest concerns is that we're really moving into what many people would call, potentially, not yet, but soon, a soft eugenics, in which it's not just what do you want to have a baby, it's what kind of baby do you want to have. And, you know, the potential for enhancement is there.
To be clear, no one at the summit is talking about eugenics. When a Chinese scientist announced at this forum 5 years ago that he had altered the genetic makeup of embryos in the lab and then brought them to term, his announcement was met with shock and outrage.
I felt like I had nothing to lose. I was at the end.
But very precise editing of genetic code to treat and cure rare diseases is making its way from the experimental to the practical, albeit currently at enormous cost. The next great challenge is to make it accessible and affordable. Oduayo Sawyer, Osrc News.
Now to Bangladesh, where the authorities are investigating the cause of a massive fire in a Rohingya refugee camp in Cox's Bazar. It destroyed more than 2,000 makeshift homes, learning facilities, and religious centers, and it left more than 12,000 people without shelter.
We have experienced a similar tragedy in Burma. Now my home here is gone and I lost everything. We barely managed to get out alive from this fire.
Volunteers like me used mini-scooters equipped with water tanks and tried to douse the fire. Today we arranged food and water for those who were displaced by the fire incident.
I just ran with my children. Everything is destroyed. We lost everything we had.
We had taken some decision regarding the rehabilitation of the people who lost their shelters. So at night, actually, no one was under the open sky. That was ensured. We provided food, dry food initially, later on hot meal.
Police in the U.S. city of Atlanta have arrested 35 protesters for setting fire to part of a police training center site. Some have been charged with domestic terrorism. Members of the local community say the facility will expand militarized policing and harm the environment.
This was a very violent attack that occurred this evening, very violent attack. This wasn't about a public safety training center. This was about anarchy, and this was about the attempt to destabilize.
They decided to draw guns on unarmed protesters. They decided to tackle and tase people in view of children.
This is a movement that's trying to save a forest and a movement that's trying to stop a militarized police training center from being built, which will cause more harm to working class and poor Black communities in particular located here in Atlanta.
They will frame the force protectors as domestic terrorists while they use weapons of terror on Atlanta residents.
And that's World at Noon. Thank you so much for watching. Good afternoon.